This program was brought to you by Koller Institute of Venture at Tel Aviv University.
I thought, when I thought about the introductory words, that I have a good opportunity to promote a little bit Tel Aviv University. After all, I'm paid for this. So I'm going to start my talk immediately by digressing, by deviating a little bit. And I would like to talk a little bit about our institution's rebranding process that we launched recently. Our new motto, and I believe it also related to the spirit of the workshop here. Our new motto is pursuing the unknown. In the traditional stance of a university, usually we would say, we know the answers, come learn from us. Where we are now is, we don't know the answers yet, come search with us. And I can go on and on about this process, but the point that I would like to make that I believe that the universities after 300 years, the modern university that we know, really it's time to reboot the whole system or to rethink about the whole system of the university. First of all, how we connect to society, how we teach. We heard here from Yuval about the online MOOCs and so on. I mean, this is also something that we have to know how to implement. And actually, the whole idea is to think about our new identity and what it connects us, how it connects us to society. And this is actually, I think, also the principle of the workshop here. Now, there is no question that the main role of a university is research, basic research. This is a basic mandate. We create data, we create knowledge, we have to disseminate knowledge, teach students. But the universities nowadays are called for being more relevant, in particular public universities like Tel Aviv University. So the trend that we really notice is that there is an interrelationship, growing interrelationship between academia, industry, and society, and it's not just on a local level, but also on a global level. So I will very briefly give you, I would say, a few points that came up when I prepared the introductory words about relevance and about interconnectedness from the prism of venture. Let me start by a few statistical, I would say, facts. Facts and statistics not always go together, but about Tel Aviv University. Tel Aviv University is a top 100 global innovation university and first in Israel, according to Reuters. I always have to emphasize that every university quotes the ranking that works on its side. So I'm doing the same, of course. And these are true statistics, of course. Tel Aviv University leads Israeli universities in patents, number 30 in the world, according to WIPO. But what's most impressive for me is that Tel Aviv University is a top on the list of top 10 schools in the world in producing successful venture capital founders or company founders, and the only one outside the United States. And this is something that really caught my attention because all other schools on the 10 list, list of 10 leading universities spend about $1 billion per year on research. Tel Aviv University spends about $160 million on research. This is what we have. So how do we do it? How do we build this kind of entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem when we have this limited or relative limited resources, and how we generate venture and how we attract venture? And here, of course, there is a whole list of parameters, and I'll give you just a few, I would say, points that I believe relate to this building this ecosystem. First of all, it's our emphasis on attracting talents. We put a lot of emphasis of attracting or recruit what we call bringing back brains, mainly from the States, Europe, but this is mainly the United States. And it's very challenging. We are, of course, competing with other universities abroad, with other universities in Israel, but there are also other challenges. We have a regulated system, and we cannot pay salaries that are negotiable with the new recruits. We are, of course, limited. And this, of course, puts some, I would say, difficulty, at least in various areas of recruiting or bringing brains from abroad or reviving our faculty. The other thing is the interdisciplinary orientation, and this is not just to be trendy. I really very strongly believe that the 21st century problems that we face need many points of view, and therefore mixing or converging various disciplines is essential. When I entered as a president here at Tel Aviv University about 6 years ago, and I saw the wealth of areas of research and teaching, we are the most comprehensive university, it was actually frightening, even overwhelming. But when you understand that when you bring them together and mix them, there is an added value in this interdisciplinary nature of the place. And I would say that, again, when I look at the modern university, I would say that disciplines are very important, like, as I mentioned, basic research is a mandate, the basic disciplines that teach the language. But we also have to declare or to announce or tell ourselves or define a few big global challenges. For instance, climate and environment, health, security, human rights, neuroscience at large. These are, of course, large global initiatives or challenges that, of course, need many, many disciplines. And this now relates also to how we hire new recruits, how we bring new faculty members. We, of course, bring them according to disciplines, but we would prefer to bring those that have a broader, I would say, broader disciplines, or being able to deal, I would say, just a few examples. Management and neuroscience, maybe physics and law. Neuroscience, of course, is an example that can put music and biology together and so on. So all this interdisciplinary has a lot of potential in it, and I think this is one of the drivers behind all the innovation and new ideas. I lucked out to be last week in New York in a gala dinner, and where I ran into Danny Gold, and I heard him speak. He's a graduate of the university. And he said that Tel Aviv University taught him mainly one thing, is not really the details. What it taught him was to take higher risk and not to be afraid to fail. We heard it from other graduates. It was a gathering of graduates. And I think this is the main message that we have to give our students. We can teach them the basics, but we have to give them a toolbox and also encourage them not to be afraid of failures. The third point, I'm from chemistry, I don't read numbers. The third point is partnering with industry, and this is also something that there are institutions that keep the industry away from them. I think that the cooperation with industry is extremely important. We owe it to our students. We have to prepare them for life. But this is also a way that we can support our research by all kind of grants from the industry and so on, but it also opens new avenues that have not been known to the faculty before. In my career after MIT, when I was looking for a job, I received, as they say, an offer I could not refuse, and I spent about 7 years at Exxon, now it's ExxonMobil in the United States, in the basic research. And I must say that I came there very hesitating, what do I have to do after the integrals and the differential equations with industry, but it opened such, I would say, a wealth of opportunities. And problems that I would not touch before actually turned to be central in my research. I even brought them later on to Tel Aviv, and I raised a whole generation of students doing things like friction or like exploration and so on that were not on the agenda before. So this is also the role, I would say, of cooperation with industry, and I really encourage this, I would say, involvement with industry. Industry, of course, supports students and supports research and so on. The fourth point, and I have 5 points, I saw the number 5 before, is bridging the commercialization gap. And you'll hear probably more a little bit from other speakers, how you really support research or research that potentially would lead to commercialization, how you support it in the very early stage before it starts to be more, I would say, something that you are sure about. And here at Tel Aviv University, we created within Ramot, our tech transfer company, the Momentum Fund, which is basically bringing investors into the university, investors that invest in very early stages of an idea. It started with Tata Industries that showed interest, and once Tata is in, of course, it's a magnet. Temasek from Singapore also joined, and now we have about $24 million in the fund that supports this very early stage idea, and I think it's very important, it's unique, and it's a way that we try. It's also still on the trial, I would say, at the trial stage, but I think it's very important, again, to bring this venture idea, this innovation, entrepreneurship into making it materialize. And the last point is, I really strongly believe in the global approach. Globalization is equivalent to interdisciplinary. It brings in new ideas, new approaches, different cultures. And here Tel Aviv University cooperates very, very strongly, of course, with the West countries of us. This is traditionally, we are connected to United States, Europe, but we put a lot of emphasis now on the China, India, the countries east of us. And just a small anecdote, I came back about, 6 weeks ago. Time just flies when you travel. 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, from Nanjing, when we inaugurated the first alumni organization in China. So over the 3 years that we have cooperation with China, 1,000 Chinese passed Tel Aviv University, and they came here to be trained in innovation and entrepreneurship in our business school. And they approached us and they said, we would like really to be identified as Tel Aviv University alumni. I'm telling this story because what it means that we have now in China actually a network of 1,000 nodes, yes, that can connect us to the industry there, to academia, of course, and they have now representatives here in Israel that can really interface them with the local, again, industry, academia, and so on. And one of the things that was presented there is an initiative by a Chinese and an Israeli from Tel Aviv, a database of 5,000 companies and businesses in Israel in Chinese with all the details that already, I would say, opened the door to this cooperation that started with this visitation of the Chinese here. We have similar arrangement in India and so on. So I think that I gave you some, in a nutshell, how Tel Aviv University approaches this venture concept, and I hope that we'll hear more, and thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you.
This program was brought to you by Koller Institute of Venture at Tel Aviv University.